Here is the full, detailed translation of the content you provided into English. I have maintained the conversational tone and the specific Buddhist terminology used in the original transcript without abbreviation or summarization. Zen Buddhism is pointing directly at the human mind to see one's nature and become a Buddha. The mind is Buddha. The mind has no form, no birth, and no death. It is always seeing, always hearing, always knowing, and it encompasses all mountains, rivers, and the great earth. Wisdom that shines upon everything is Amitabha Buddha. Infinite light is the scenes that appear from one's own Buddha nature. Infinite life means having no form, and thus no birth and no death. Reincarnation is also just this Buddha nature, this nature of knowing. Infinite merit is being pure, empty, still, and immovable, unshakable. So, what is the point of realizing Zen? Once you realize the mind, you live with it. That is goodness. What do? You know you are doing that thing. The Buddha nature is completely unattached. Now, if we say we are suffering, meaning there is suffering and there is joy, then there are still two poles. Two poles exist within yin and yang, within duality. If you still cling to the idea that I am suffering, you will continue to reincarnate because the force of yin and yang is very strong. Once you realize the Buddha nature, that our nature has no form, no birth or death, but always sees, hears, and knows, then just dwell in that. If suffering arises, well, that suffering isn't me. And in a moment, it will become joy anyway. If you suffer continuously, it is because you are still caught in the two poles, still within the three realms. Now, if there is ugliness and beauty, the brain will analyze ugliness and beauty. But the Buddha nature, it knows. It simply knows. Practicing this yields merit that transcends the three realms, creating a golden body. Why is there a golden body? Because you realize the Buddha nature has no form and no birth or death. So, you possess a golden body. But now, what do you keep clinging to? This physical body is aging every second, every minute, every hour. What are you doing? Correct? Now, if you are in pain, the knowing that is aware of the pain is you. As for this physical body, it isn't you. Once it is lost, it will just dissolve back into dust. Is there anyone who is in pain forever? Or does it hurt for a while and then stop? Now, what about pain? If you know that the knowing that observes the pain is your true self, then you know clearly and naturally the pain disappears. So, Zen is simply that. Realizing the cardinal principle of Zen is to become a Buddha. Oh heavens! If people eat delicious food, can I know the taste on their behalf? Whoever eats is the one who knows. So how many Buddha natures does everyone have? There is only one. Everyone has one Buddha. Why do people cultivate forever and never succeed? Sentient beings cultivate the physical form, cultivate effortful practices, and cling to months and years so they do not succeed. So how do we succeed? We cultivate in reverse, point directly to the mind. Once you realize the mind, you break through forms, break through the five aggregates. Our brain analyzes, it is sick. Realizing the Buddha nature brings peace, purity, and illuminates everything, transcending the three realms. But if you cling to good and evil, or cultivate to fix evil into good, you only ascend to the heaven realms. Buddhism points directly to the mind to see one's nature and become a Buddha. The Dharma does not even need words. It is the profoundly miraculous Dharma. So now, realizing what is you, the mind is you. Formless, unborn, undying, unaging, deathless. Swords cannot cut it, no one can eat it, no one can bind it. That is you. So, have you fully realized it? Recognize that that is you. This physical body is not you. Recognizing this brings complete peace and purity. It only takes one person to open your eyes, instruct, enlighten. So, does Zen require sitting? No. Zen by what means? By the mind. The mind nature sees, hears, and knows. Whatever we do, we know we are doing that. That is Zen. Eating rice is also Zen. Sweeping the house is also Zen. If you realize Zen, it does not mean crossing your legs in the lotus position to sit Zen. Now, people who cross their legs but don't understand Zen, sitting like that is just sitting like a ghost demon. Sitting and craving supernatural powers, craving sensations. What about seeing visions of ghosts? Sometimes they appear, sometimes they hide. Seeing those scenes and thinking they are real. Perceiving colors like that and sitting there, clinging to them as real is just the joy of Mara. As for realizing the nature of Zen, you don't even need to sit, but whoever wants to sit can sit. If you sit, dwell in it. If scenes appear, we do not accept them as real or fake. The one knowing is the true self. Now, because there are all kinds of sentient beings with different capacities, there are many Dharma gates, but they are just rivers. Wherever they go, they flow into the sea. There are many rivers, right? But there is only one sea. The water is salty. Zen is the sea. How to point directly to the mind? Once the mind is realized, one becomes a Buddha. But I emphasize strongly, recognize the mind as yourself. Do not recognize the body as yourself first. You must realize this. Those with high capacity who listen to the recording will realize it immediately, without needing to join the Zoom meeting. Hearing the power of concentration in the instruction, listening to each sentence of the Dharma, strikes right at the deluded mind. So now, to cultivate, must one go to a temple? Must one go up a mountain? Chop off arms and legs? Where do you cultivate? Cultivate right at the mind. Cultivating the mind is Zen. Zen mind is simply that. Do we need to cling to anything else? To cling is to remain in the cycle of reincarnation, of birth and death. If you let anything bind you, you remain in reincarnation. Maitreya Buddha laughing is him preaching the Dharma. Why? You have the nature of seeing. You see me laugh. You have the nature of hearing you hear me laugh. You have the nature of knowing you know me laugh. Instantly seeing, instantly hearing, instantly knowing. So, is that your internal Buddha? What does the laughing Buddha want to say? Child, you have the Buddha nature, but you do not recognize it. Why do you go out and practice? Why do you suffer in reincarnation? Why do you go to the temple? The Holy Buddha is right there, yet you refuse to accept him. If you recognize it, do you become a Buddha? Even sentient beings have the Buddha mind, but if they don't cultivate, what's the point? Cultivate to do what? Cultivate means to fix, correct? Fixing only gets you to the heaven realm. That's it. But realizing the Buddha nature is pointing directly to the human mind to see one's nature and become a Buddha. Everyone, contemplate this sentence deeply. Now, many people are still confused. Buddha nature, right? It does not accept things as real, does not accept things as fake, does not accept existence, does not accept non-existence. It encompasses everything. As for the brain, it still analyzes right and wrong, existence and non-existence, so it is just a sentient being. But an enlightened being, a high cultivator, maintains the Buddha nature as pure, empty, and still, not clinging to anything. Sentient beings still cling, so they are called sentient beings. See? My warnings are not superfluous. I know immediately you will be tested by emotions. That is the 5 demons. Mara enters. Because we cultivate the Dhamma of liberation, it won't let us be liberated easily. It keeps entering our 5 aggregates. If we keep our mind firm, the past has already become reality, manifested, and gone, right? There is only the present. The future has not yet arrived. So, in the present, recognize the body-mind firm, unborn, formless, and you are completely liberated. No one binds you. Never think about what has passed as real or fake. Those scenes are also fake. They are Mara. Shakyamuni Buddha manages the 6 paths of reincarnation. Many people say their mind is chaotic. How can the mind be chaotic? The mind is thus and immovable. If it is chaotic, what is chaotic? Emotions. If it were chaotic forever, that would be you. But if it is chaotic sometimes and calm at other times, then it is not you. Emotions are Mara entering to dominate and obscure your Buddha nature. If you run after it, you lose, it wins. But if we keep the mind firm, thus and immovable, we will never be tested. If you accept the test, suffering as yourself, you will die of exhaustion. Oh heavens, I must be liberated gently. Do not be bound by anything. Now, you say you have realized Zen and are liberated. But when demonic obstacles strike, you lose, then you are still not liberated. That is the test. If we are liberated, then no matter how many visions come, we remain thus and immovable. Now, there are people who have listened to many sessions, but after dreaming, they keep retelling. Yesterday I dreamed this. Yesterday was that. Yesterday is yesterday. Right now, the Buddha nature is thus and immovable. Meditation visions are also fake. Let go of the good and it is all gone. So that is Mara, right? Correct. Mara exists sometimes and not others. And which one is Buddha? The one who knows. The knowing is Buddha. Just recognize that. Recognize only that. Then you are liberated immediately. Everyone, wake up. Zen masters like Master Shuyun, Huvan, after attaining the Tao, was still beaten at the end of his life. Beaten half to death, died and came back to life. Master Suan Hua Tien was cultivating and a temple was giving him food. Then suddenly, the abbot hated him and stopped bringing rice. He almost starved to death. The tests are like that. Now everyone, pay attention and save this recording. You will definitely need it. Why? Now we cultivate for liberation, right? So what is hindering us? Mara, right? Why would it let us be liberated? We realize the mind is thus immovable, formless, completely selfless, always knowing, hearing, and seeing. So when we are tested, what is tested? Emotions are tested, the brain is tested, the 5 aggregates are tested. Mara only enters those things. But if it obscures our Buddha nature and we lose and run after it, so why are we negative now? Are we discouraged forever? No. So is that us? No. The nature that is thus immovable, always knowing, hearing, and seeing, eternally existing, that is us. Accept that. As for yesterday, I dream I saw this and that scene. Do you still see it now? No. So is it Mara? Mara is sometimes there, sometimes not. If you saw it forever, it would be real. And where is Buddha? Buddha is the nature of knowing, knowing at all times. Just accept that. If you accept the test, suffering as yourself, you suffer for no reason. So, are you liberated yet? Not yet. Now, just accept the Buddha nature. Whatever comes, let it be. Complete liberation. The biggest Mara is the brain, is the emotions. There is nothing else. Defeat it and you become a Buddha. But once we become Buddha, we don't accept it. Before we lost to it. Now that we are enlightened and awakened, it will test us even more if we defeat it again. Every time we pass a test, our halo increases. If we lose, we stagnate. In general, everyone should listen to these recordings because receiving the power of concentration helps you wake up. Also, save it to listen when needed. I never speak superfluous words. Advice is always correct because I have experienced it all. The 6th Patriarch Huineng attained the Tao and was still hung from a tree for 3 days. What are you all? Being tested a little bit is nothing. I affirm 100%. If you cultivate for liberation, you will be tested. Who tests? Mara tests. Because you claim, I am liberated. So it tests to see if you are really liberated, right? If you don't want to be tested, don't cultivate anymore. Just stay safe. Now, let me repeat carefully. The knowing of the brain is different from the knowing of the Buddha nature. The knowing of the brain sees two poles, right? Ugly and beautiful. It analyzes, calling this person ugly, that person beautiful. But the knowing of the Buddha nature is thus and immovable. It only knows because it is infinite light. It just shines and knows. It does not engage, is not attached, completely pure. If you are attached, you still reincarnate because the gravitational pull of yin and yang is very strong. Listen, if you get attached to just one pole, you reincarnate. But if you realize the Buddha nature always seeing, hearing, knowing, immovable, you transcend the three realms, infinite, boundless merit. Cultivating by climbing mountains, chopping off arms and legs, only brings blessings. But cultivating by pointing directly to the mind brings merit, kung fu, virtue. Because the Buddha nature has inherent merit. When you realize it, do you see peace and purity? That's it. Practice dwelling in the nature of knowing, because the Buddha nature just knows. Purely, emptily, and silently. It knows. It just knows. It is not attached. And that pain is not mine, not of this physical body. This is yin and yang. It turns out we have clung to it and reincarnated for so long. Now, how do we practice the Dharma? Realize the Buddha nature, right? Then what do we do? It knows what it is doing. Using your head to think, scattering thoughts in confusion, is the wrong method. If you don't think, but thoughts arise spontaneously, that is not you. They arise and will vanish in a moment. What is real? The one who is knowing, right? Once the one who is knowing is realized. Does practicing Zen bring merit or blessings? It brings merit. Whose merit? The Buddha natures. The Buddha nature is inherently infinite merit. It is Amitabha Buddha. Now that everyone has realized Zen, realizing Zen makes you what? Makes you a Buddha. Once Zen is realized, wisdom is born, right? Is there anyone who enters here to listen and sees their wisdom decreasing day by day? Or do you listen and realize more and more things? Breaking forms, breaking delusion, breaking attachment. It is simply recognizing the Buddha nature and living with it. Whatever you do, just know you are doing it. Keep the Buddha nature. If the head thinks chaotic, scattered thoughts, let it be. And whatever vision comes, let it be according to conditions. The mind remains immutable amidst the shifting currents of life. The mind is unattached. Now, whoever says, I have no greed, no anger, no ignorance, no matter how much you cultivate, it's still there. As long as this physical body exists, it's all there. Cultivating, like Shenshu, means fixing. When anger arises, we fix it, we suppress it. That is polishing a tile to make a mirror. Cultivating like the sixth patriarch means when greed, anger, and ignorance appear, we just keep our knowing. That is cultivating like the sixth patriarch. Cultivating like Sheng Shu means thinking that the emotion is me and fixing. Oh heavens, it's useless suffering. No matter how much you sweep leaves, the wind blows and they scatter again. Anyone who realizes the Zen nature realizes the Buddha nature. Even if they win the lottery, they aren't overjoyed. They remain normal. Now, do not consider it yours, yet consider it yours. Consider it yours, yet do not consider it yours. Do not accept it as real, nor accept it as fake. Now, what do? We just know we are doing that thing. Do not cling to whether it is yours or not yours. Just do it. Because we must live according to conditions. Living here, we must balance both the world and the way. Generally, many people here have a female body, but a male essence, bone structure. So cultivation is fast. Only then can Zen permeate if you have a female body and a fully female nature? It is very difficult and painful. Now, recite this mantra, recite it in your mind, okay? In your mind. Then Om Mani Padme, also recite in the mind, holding the prayer wheel and spinning it. That is Zen. If you recite with your mouth, no, that's not it. Everyone pay attention. No matter how much you repent, if you encounter a situation and get angry and harm someone, it's like spewing fire and burning up your merit. Do not get angry. If you don't get angry, all sins vanish. First, listen to the Dharma to receive the power of concentration and light. Then the mind becomes clearer and clearer about the Dharma. Second, practice the Dharma. Meditation is dwelling in awareness while walking, standing, lying down, sitting, or doing anything. The Buddha nature has already been pointed out, right? Third, bow in repentance every day. The repentance text has been sent to the group, right? Fourth, eat vegetarian food to quickly see your nature. Fifth, spin the prayer wheel. The prayer wheel has been explained, initiated. Now, the secret of the Tathagata has been spoken. So is there a need to learn much more? The cardinal principle of Zen is just that. Everyone possesses the nature of seeing, hearing, and knowing. Then, first, discard this body, right? Joy, sadness, love, and hate arise. And you still clearly know them because our Buddha nature often gives birth to the 10,000 dharmas. Those are dharmas. Joy, sadness, love, hate are dharmas. Why cling to them as real or fake? This subject, the knowing, is not born. So how can it die? Whatever is born, if you cling to it, leads to reincarnation and birth and death. You cannot escape this, knowing, see? Because our Buddha nature gives birth to 10,000 dharmas, why cling to the dharmas? But Buddha and Dharma are not separate because Buddha gives birth to Dharma, okay? If it didn't give birth, how would it die? It still exists. Now, everyone cultivate. Don't care about gossip or worldly affairs. Whatever passes, let it pass. Dwell in the Buddha nature in the present. As for this physical body, if it hurts or aches, let it be. Just keep the knowing. Fundamentally, this knowing is not polluted by anything. If you keep thinking this body is you will never see your nature. Now, those who have attained the Tao are still beaten by people, being tested to see if they have attained the Tao. If you feel a bit dizzy or have a headache, it's nothing. When practicing Zen, having a headache is a very good signal. Now, everyone note this. First, to practice Zen, you must understand the body is not you. Second, regarding pain, analyzing whether it hurts or not is just straying into birth and death, reincarnation. Realize the knowing nature completely. It is not entangled in anything. It still knows clearly. This is the great way, witnessing Bodhi. There. But if you keep getting entangled in yesterday's dream, the stiffness of the legs, the physical body, that is practicing the Dharma of deception. You want to escape birth and death, but you cling to birth and death. So how can you escape? Clinging to birth attracts more birth. Clinging to death attracts death in the future. I said realize the mind. Just accept the mind. But fundamentally, you don't even need to accept the mind. That is the truth once realized. Bow to the Buddha. Eat vegetarian. Spin the prayer wheel. Don't harm anyone. Don't care about external gossip. And you will be fine. Just listen to what has been instructed. Just practice it. Don't fail to practice. And then ask this and that. Now, everyone must save this recording to listen to. So now, to practice Zen, first of all, we must realize the mind. The mind is me and the mind is Buddha. So the mind has no form, no appearance, no birth, no death, no aging, no dying. Therefore, this is I, always seeing, hearing, and knowing. But this knowing, hearing, and seeing is not attached, not polluted by anything. It just knows clearly. Being completely pure, it is called Amitabha Buddha. The things we see projected from our Buddha nature are infinite light. What is infinite life? Because no one created it. It has no form, so it is unborn and undying. In the future, it will still remain. And what is infinite merit? Everyone, once you have learned this Sudden Enlightenment Zen, this Tathagata Zen, you feel peaceful and pure. All afflictions and suffering are cut off because the root has been severed. So how can there be suffering? Second, one must understand how the knowing of the brain works. It analyzes right and wrong, good and bad. For example, sitting here, suddenly streams of scattered, chaotic thoughts arise. But if you forget the knowing, you get lost again. But if we realize that the one currently knowing is the true self, completely unattached to anything, then the suffering, the joy, the sadness arise and then pass away. Right? They arise and then pass away. Without our inner Buddha, how could we know these things? And how could these things be born? It is also the knowing nature that gives birth to them. We just accept them as real, as fake, run after them, thinking this is me, that is me, so we get sucked into yin and yang. Once sucked into yin and yang, sitting here, we suffer again, think again, continue. But whoever realizes the Buddha nature only seeing, hearing, and knowing, completely pure, unattached, unpolluted, then when emotions arise, you know clearly, but don't say sad or happy. Don't accept it as me. But now, Maratestas, suddenly a thought rushes in. We run after it and we retreat. We don't truly seek liberation. Just realize this. Knowing nature, no need to cultivate anything. That's it. As for the method of meditation, when walking, standing, lying down, sitting, realize, the one currently knowing is me. Focus on the present, the present, the present. Tomorrow, the day after, forget it. The past, forget it. It's gone. In the present, there is this knowing, completely pure, empty, still, not attached to anything. That is immediate peace. That is Tathagata Zen. No need to sit. Is there anyone sitting here who is sad forever? Anyone happy forever? That is birth and death. Sadness and joy are birth and death. Why are they called sadness and joy? Because in yin and yang, there are two poles. There is a gravitational force. There. It creates it. If we cling to joy and sadness, we are still in birth and death reincarnation. If there is duality, there is birth and death reincarnation. Because the knowing of the brain is like that. But the Buddha nature simply knows clearly. It does not analyze anything. Clearly knowing, never dying. Time passes, but it follows. Clearly knowing, pure this belongs to the Buddha nature. So now, everyone practice this, and merit will be created. Practicing those other things yields blessings. Now, dwell in walking, standing, lying down, sitting all, realizing the mind. The mind is empty space, is me, is Buddha. Cultivate right here, right at this exquisite spot of the Tathagata. The Buddhas of the 10 directions and 3 periods also cultivate this. Will the house and the car last forever? Or will your knowing last forever? If this knowing didn't exist, how would the house and car be known? Those things are being known. We are the one who is knowing, currently seeing, currently hearing. But this knowing nature never waits 2 or 3 seconds to know. Whatever comes, it knows immediately. This is the exquisite part. Recognize the internal Buddha right here. Don't look anywhere far away. Never look far away. Don't crave attaining or cultivating anything. Realize this and become a Buddha instantly. But now, if you cultivate and keep saying, my body hurts, that is still birth and death reincarnation. Our knowing inherently has no form or appearance. No one can kill it, no one can burn it, no one can eat it, and it is unborn and undying. It encompasses mountains, rivers, and the great earth. Why not accept this as me? Fundamentally, you don't even need to accept it. It is already me. Now you keep clinging to this body, and it ages every second, minute, day, and hour. Why do that to yourself? Where does suffering come from? From everyone accepting the suffering. Our knowing nature is completely unattached to anything. Clearly knowing, still living. So, isn't this place exquisite? Is it not miraculous and mysterious that our Buddha is right here? Now, sentient beings cultivate forever. Cultivate until they are bored before they are willing to accept it. Ah, this nature has reincarnated with us for so long. Still here as Buddha. This is called directly pointing to the human mind, seeing one's nature to become Buddha. No need to go cultivate, go chop off arms and legs. Seek the way for what? Right here. The more you look outside, the more you find Mara. Now, no matter how beautiful someone's body is, they will die. Do you know how many dead bodies you have inhabited? And those houses, vehicles, later they will be lost, they will decay. So why cling to them as real or fake? The one currently knowing here is real. When cultivating, you must be tested. Tested on what? Emotions. It tests to see if we still cling to the body. We keep binding ourselves to this body and forget the empty, silent nature that encompasses mountains and rivers, which is us. That is ignorance. Right? Now, the more you listen to the Dharma, the more you understand the Dharma, the more you eat vegetarian, the more you bow to the Buddha, the fewer delusions you have, the more karma you eliminate, and your inner Buddha appears more clearly. But you will still be tested. The higher the elimination, the more you are tested. You can't just sit there eating golden rice bowls. Now, practicing this brings merit. Walking, standing, lying down, sitting are all Zen called Tathagata Zen. Sentient beings keep looking elsewhere, cultivating right at the mind, right at this spot. They refuse to cultivate. They keep demanding to chant Buddha's name loudly, chant softly, sit and recite sutras, sit and chant loudly, cultivating forever, still suffering. It is very suffering. But now, realizing this Buddha nature cuts off the roots. All suffering falls away cleanly. Everyone meets each other and feels peace and purity. Whereas before, oh heavens, why cultivate and still suffer? Now you keep saying, my child, my car, my house later on, will they still be yours? And who am I? What is my name? How old? Which gender? Or will the body eventually return to dust and this name become like nothingness? There. Do you see impermanence? Some people are laughing and talking today. Tomorrow they are admitted to the emergency room. The day after they are brought home in an ambulance wee-woo blowing the horns. That is impermanence. But our knowing nature, oh heavens, it has been immortal all this time, yet you refuse to accept it. Accept these things, impermanent things, and you continue birth and death reincarnation. It's very painful, everyone. Wake up from the dream. Wake up. And another thing is that every sentient being has the Buddha nature, sharing the same substance, all equal. Do not discriminate. This person is lesser than me. This person is better than me. Never discriminate like that. That is still ego, the great ego. Every sentient being is a Buddha. All are the same. Being good to them is being good to oneself. Because everyone has the knowing nature. Why discriminate? Why distinguish between north and south, rich and poor? If you do that, how can you call it cultivating for liberation? If you are bound to anything, it is also birth and death reincarnation. Now, if we are hungry, our Buddha knows hunger. If we eat, our Buddha knows it tastes good. Is that not exquisite? How can you run away from it? This is me, right? Reincarnating however many times. It is still me. It has no form. That is the awakened nature. Having no worldly afflictions. Due to whom? Due to us. This brain here, it creates afflictions. Accepting this body, the body of four elements, earth, water, wind, fire. Later it returns to earth, water, wind, fire, and dust. So realize this unborn one. No one gave birth to it, so why cultivate anymore? Once realized, It is sudden enlightenment. But now, you keep wanting to cultivate and fix like Sheng Shu. Keep fixing, fixing, fixing. Finish fixing, encounter a situation, get angry, and attack people again. Only by cultivating at this spot, right at this mind, is it called following the Tathagata. As for those other things, that is the way of heaven. Cultivating gains blessings to ascend to the heaven realm. But following the Buddha entails realizing the mind. Since you believe in Buddha, you must accept the mind is Buddha. Because you claim to take refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. But when told the mind is Buddha, you refuse to accept, refuse to take refuge, refuse to bow. Truly fake. All this time, I haven't displayed words to kill you with boredom, intellect. I speak straight, speaking the most practical things for those who realize the Dharma. But one must also rely on the power of concentration, otherwise, one won't understand. Try to record and listen to these segments, transfer them to my storage drive, and listen again every day. It is not superfluous. Do you know the exquisite meaning of the event where Patriarch Bodhidharma sat facing the wall for 9 years without teaching? Why was it that his mind did not turn outward to engage in worldly right and wrong, and anyone looking at him from the outside? He didn't have anything for them to see. They just saw his back, there. Accepting this spot is the supreme vehicle. The exquisite teaching of the Tathagata teaching us is not just looking at him sitting like that. The implication inside is very deep and miraculous. Everyone should remember that within the three realms, the desire realm, form realm, and formless realm, if we cultivate kindness and live wholesomely, keep many precepts, we accumulate blessings to go to the heaven realm to enjoy them. But following the Buddha, following the world-honored one must realize the mind that is pure, empty, silent like empty space. Cultivate the seeing, hearing, knowing. Infinite eons still here, following the Buddha and realizing this is called directly pointing to the human mind, seeing one's nature to become Buddha. When practicing Tathagata Zen, we will see purity, purity, purity. But do not cling to that purity either, because this knowing nature just clearly knows fundamentally. This knowing is open, thus and immovable. It is not moved by anything, including purity. So, clinging to purity makes you an arhat only. Not clinging to it allows you to see your nature and become a Buddha. That is, when one reaches the state where the mind is seen as not moving at all, seeing scenes and everything without getting entangled, the nature returns called seeing nature to become Buddha. It's that simple. No need to keep many precepts, no need to cultivate kindness and live wholesomely a lot. Just realize the mind. But once the mind is realized, one becomes kind and virtuous, because the Buddha nature is inherently compassionate, right everyone? Just hearing a few Dharma talks, everyone's compassion is activated. Seeing anyone, you want to save them. That is the Buddha nature. But the more you cultivate, the more you are tested. Tested on what? Tested on faith. Tested on emotions. It rushes into the brain, and the brain analyzes. If you can't defeat it, you fly thousands of miles away from the path. Sometimes, Mara enters and says, "This teacher is teaching wrong. One must cultivate kindness and live wholesomely," and so on, leading to doubt. In general, following a master requires absolute faith and faith in oneself. Just like the Sangha of Master Minto are now cultivating like that and still being tested, let alone that 1-year-old guy, everyone must realize that the mind is the main thing. Do not run after thoughts and emotion. Sometimes, while cultivating, practicing Tathagata Zen, suddenly a thought rushes in. Oh heavens, so discouraging. Quit. Give up, right? That retreating mind is just illusory perception. I keep telling everyone, hundreds of times, this brain analyzes. It has forms. It has fame and gain. It analyzes. But the Buddha nature is thus and immovable. Only knowing clearly, then accept that. I reaffirm, accept that to be liberated. If you keep accepting this, the brain, thoughts, later you will analyze again, reincarnate again, suffer again. That is liberation. Why cultivate but remain suffering? You have reincarnated for 50 billion years. Do you want to reincarnate again? We have met each other. Try hard. Do not run after delusions. Do not run after the brain anymore. Mara King is here. Don't fear him. You fear things that don't matter. Everyone has reincarnated for 50 billion years to finally encounter this Zen lineage. Oh heavens, it is not simple. Once met, you must treasure it, must practice. Do not cling to the body, then cling to thoughts. Once past, let it go. Entering the mind is a mundane person, right? Oh heavens, we cultivate for liberation. But now, we keep a mundane mind like that. And some people even demand their third eye be opened. Realize the mind first. Only when you are not bound, not affected by anything, does the mind cease to be mundane. If the mind is still too mundane, how can it work? Although the halo of wisdom exists, only when tested do you understand. Tested, then you understand. I keep repeating, practicing Tathagata Zen. Whatever passes, let it go. Realize the mind only, always knowing, hearing, seeing. How can anyone kill it? How can anyone harm it? Why worry? This brain hinders us. It is the Mara King. It made us reincarnate and suffer for 50 billion years. Why not fear it? Why not go fear it? And now, the teacher points out, this is the Mara King. Your Buddha nature is inherently true suchness, but you refuse to accept it, refuse to live with true suchness. So now, just bow in repentance slowly, and wisdom will open up. But if the head keeps scattering and being chaotic, how can the mind be scattered? It is the head that is scattered. This helps us reincarnate in suffering. Try hard. Oh heavens, realize the mind. I always say realize the mind. Following Buddhism, following the world-honored one, you must realize the mind. Do not run after illusory thoughts and illusory perceptions. Do not learn too much. Asking 1 and answering 10, asking 10 and answering 100 for what? Sentient beings are of the same substance, all the same. Because you refuse to accept the Buddha in this mind, searching everywhere, far away, then being covered by ignorance, covered by so many things, forgetting completely. But a teacher with the power of concentration points straight at it, and the nature appears, right? Thanks to other power of the teacher, Buddha, because self-power is very difficult. Now, even with other power, it is still difficult, still scattered, let alone someone cultivating alone. Now, this brain is inherently sick. It is the Mara King. So when cultivating, it will enter and destroy, right? But has everyone noticed? If this knowing didn't exist, how would it know it is destroying, right? Without this knowing. But mundane people keep running after those thoughts, analyzing. Doing what? The knowing without this knowing. How would you know? Oh heavens! Refusing to accept this subject. The Buddha nature remains forever, remains forever. Do those thoughts and illusions remain forever? Oh heavens! Repeating again and again. Now, do you want to be a ghost, reincarnate in birth and death, or become a Buddha? Now, if there is still one specific practice, craving blessings, craving to get this and that, then it is 100% birth and death reincarnation. Once blessings run out, you fall again. That is a deviant practice. But realizing the mind, there is nothing to cultivate. No practice to cultivate, nothing left to explain. Buddha said he spoke no dharma. There is nothing to say. Realize the mind and there is no Buddha left either. It is just an open, knowing. When we cultivate, it is easy to stray into the lesser vehicle. The supreme vehicle and the lesser vehicle are just a bit apart. For example, if a thought arrives and we try to chant Buddha's name to suppress it, that is lesser vehicle. But in the supreme vehicle, there is nothing left to cultivate. Just realize that. Knowing, nothing left to explain, nothing whatsoever. Just like that. And if we keep craving to save sentient beings, for what? Realize the knowing nature. If sentient beings have an affinity, save them. If no affinity, do not try to cover the sky. Please, remember this. Rich people, they are rich. They have a lot of money, like the belly of a hungry ghost. It is big, right? But the neck is like a needle. It cannot get out. Money cannot ooze out. Being rich, currently, they are hungry ghosts. No need for tomorrow or the day after. Oh heavens, Tathagata Zen must follow the correct method the teacher pointed out to see one's nature. Otherwise, it is very difficult. You must bow in repentance, must spin the prayer wheel, must recite the rebirth mantra, must practice while walking, standing, lying down, sitting. That is the best. In the Saha world, that amount is the best. Pass it down to disciples later. Now, saying this, many people will scold me, but sentient beings are already Buddhas. You forgot, came down here, and because joy, sadness, love, and hate were born, they covered the light of the Buddha nature. Meeting a teacher who gives one shout, whoever accepts the knowing nature, thanks to that voice of concentration and the streams of other power, realizes and attains right at the spot, becoming a Buddha immediately. There is no other way. Since it is empty space, what is there to attain? You keep craving to see sentient beings to save them. But sentient beings are not empty space. There are no sentient beings to save. But if we accept there is nothing, it is wrong. If we say there are sentient beings, it is off. Why is it not called Tathagata Zen but Patriarch Zen? Tathagata Zen is realizing the knowing nature, directly pointing to the human mind to see one's nature and become Buddha. Bodhi originally has no tree. The bright mirror has no stand. Originally, there is not a single thing. Where can dust alight? It is empty, a single thing. Just clearly knowing is Tathagata Zen. Walking, standing, lying down, sitting are all Zen. The Platform Sutra and such are the essential teachings